Allah, 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 Allah. We live at a time where there are people amongst us claiming that they are following the example of as-Salaf, that they are the real followers of our predecessors, Ashab al-Nabi, Tabi'in, 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 that they are the ones following in their footsteps. But let's see what the Sahaba understood. How did they behave with Prophet ﷺ? What kind of love they showed Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Many of you may have heard the story that a lady from Bani Dinar, when Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was coming from one of his battles, she was looking for her husband, her father, and her brother. And every time she's moving forward, some companion was saying, "My condolences, your father was shaheed. Your son was shaheed. Your brother was shaheed. Your husband was shaheed." And what did she say? What about Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? What about my master? Where is he? And they said, he's here. And when she saw him, كل مصيبة لك جلد يا رسول الله. Every affliction, aside from the affliction of losing you, is easy. قل إن كان آباؤكم وأبناؤكم وإخوانكم وأزواجكم وعشيرتكم وأموال اقترفتموها وتجارة تخشون كسادها ومساكن ترضونها أحب إليكم من الله ورسوله وجهاد في سبيله فتربصوا حتى يأتي الله والله لا يهدي القوم الفاسقين. This is not a matter of should we or shouldn't we. These great poets, Allama Iqbal, they were lucky to understand that their happiness, that their peace of mind, that their eternal happiness in the hereafter depends on our relationship with that one. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's not a matter of courtesy that we have to love him. But this love didn't come from nowhere. What the Shaykh was talking about, what this poet and lover of Sayyidina Muhammad wanted to express, it didn't come from him reading books. It did not come from him standing in prayers, 1,000 rak'ahs, from his fasting. It came from Suhbatul Ahibba. It came from the companionship of real lovers of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It came from the companionship of those who are consumed by his love. Not just empty words. And what they've explained is only what the tongue can say. We read this and we say, oh, wow, wow. as they say in the subcontinent. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. But this is only a drop of what they've tasted. Language is very limited. No matter how much you try. How can you describe something undescribable? How can you know the magnificence of something that is infinitely magnificent? No limits. And what you know is a drop of a billion drops of His infinite greatness. Even all those who labored, who toiled, who stayed up in their nights crying, because their hearts were burning with His love. What does that say of us? A piece of wood, a stump, inanimate, a stump of a tree. Because the holy feet of Sayyid al-Bashar stood on it for Jum'ah. That stump of a tree was more alive than we are. Because when they made a pulpit for Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they took that stump and put it aside, and his holy feet walked on that minbar, pulpit, the whole masjid heard the moaning of that stump. All the companions heard that moaning. They said, we heard such a sad sorrow coming from that stump. Why? Because it was yearning. It was yearning for the holy feet of Prophet ﷺ. And that's a piece of wood. What's wrong with our hearts? That a piece of wood is able to show love to Him more than we can. What does that say of what happened to the Ummah of Sayyidina Muhammad? That when you say your life, your happiness depends on it, they say, oh, you're excessive, bro. Was Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq excessive in his life? They asked one of the companions, Sayyidina Abu Bakr bought from him the saddle of a camel. And he said to him, please have your son delivered to my house. That companion said, by Allah, I will not, unless you tell me about your trip to the Prophet on his companionship. Then I will deliver it. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq told him. The story before that from Hadith Sayyidah Aisha is that when Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq went to ask permission from Prophet ﷺ for hijrah, Prophet ﷺ said, wait, maybe don't go by yourself, maybe there's a companion who will appear for you. And then when Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ came to him and said to him, my Lord has given me permission to go on hijrah, Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, As-Suhba. Grant me the honor of your companionship on this journey. And Sayyidina Muhammad said, As-Suhba. Sayyidah Aisha said, She never saw her father cry like he cried that night. From happiness. He was crying like a little child from happiness. Sayyidina Abu Bakr. Was he excessive? No. So he said, when we were going, we walked all night. We reached, and most of the day, and then we reached a rock, a big rock with shadow, it has some shadow. So he put his jubbah for Prophet ﷺ, and he cleaned the area around, and he asked Prophet to sit. Then he went looking for food, and he found a sheep herder. He bought from him some milk and came to Prophet ﷺ. And he said, O Messenger of Allah, I brought you some milk. Will you drink? And Sayyidina Muhammad took ﷺ the milk and he started drinking. And look at the description of somebody who is annihilated in the love of Prophet ﷺ, who no longer exists. Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq stopped existing. Prophet ﷺ used to say, if you want to look at somebody who died before he died, you want to look at a living shaheed, not just shaheed of fighting, a real shaheed. Look at the Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, one. He died before he died. So in describing, he said, and I watched my beloved drinking his fill until I became satisfied, until my thirst was quenched. Prophet drank until the thirst of Sayyidina Abu Bakr was quenched. And they were both traveling. And they were both thirsty. This is the example of the love of Sahaba. They honored him in such a way that some of them asked him, can we make sajda for you, O Prophet ﷺ? When they came to him and said, some of the Ansar, O Prophet, one of the camel has just went wild on us. And we use it for watering our groves. And the groves are thirsty, we can't water them. He attacks everybody that comes close. So Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ walked there with them. And when he reached, he said, where is it? They say, over there in that corner. He started walking. They said, be careful. Be careful. He may attack you. He said, never mind. You take it easy. And walked towards me. When that camel saw Prophet, he walked to him and went in sajda. The camel. When the companions saw this, they said, oh beloved, if the camel can make sajda for you, we are your companions. We love you. It's more befitting for us, human beings, to make sajda for you. He said no. He didn't say it was haram. It was kufr. It was too much. You love me too much. This is ghulu, as they say. No, he said no. He said no, but if I was to tell anybody to make sajda, I would tell the lady to make sajda to her husband, the wife. He didn't say he wanted to block that door, but he understood that they loved him. He didn't scold them. Sayyidina Mu'adh bin Jabal, when he came back from seeing the priests making sajda to their patriarch, he came back and he made sajda to Prophet ﷺ. And Sayyidina Muhammad didn't scold him. He said, Ma hada ya Mu'adh? What is this? He said, I saw the priests making, and you are more befitting to make sajda. He said no. And he answered him the same question. But this is what the Sahaba saw. This is the real Salaf. This is how much veneration, how much respect, how much love they had for Prophet. That when he would make wudu, the water wouldn't reach the ground. It was a race to catch his water from his wudu. Is this too much? Is this ghulu? Why? Because when they sat in his presence, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, their hearts were open to Allah's divine presence. Because they know He's their means, He's their door, He's their way, He's their safety. When they sat with Him, when He was speaking of heaven and hell, they were seeing Him. Such was the personality of Prophet, and he showed a drop of a drop of a drop. What did Sayyidina Minhaj-ul-Quran? لو ناسمت قدره آياته وعظما أحيسه حين يدعى دارس الرمم. Sayyidina Imam Busayri didn't understand. He said, if his signs of his greatness were according to his status with his Lord, you only need to mention his name on a dead body and it will be alive. Sayyidina Muhammad,